Rethinking National Security. This opinion examines why Pakistan must broaden its security paradigm beyond military strength to address deep socioeconomic vulnerabilities. Pakistan, which has one of the world's largest armies, has emerged as a formidable military power. Formidable is an adjective meaning inspiring fear or respect through power. This opening sentence serves as a thesis statement by establishing Pakistan's strong conventional defense capability. The military's robust response to India's aggression in May this year again proved its prowess. Robust is an adjective meaning strong and effective. Prowess is a noun meaning skill or expertise in a particular activity. This sentence means Pakistan's armed forces demonstrated their strength during recent border clashes. Indeed, a strong military makes a country safer against external aggression. This general observation asserts that conventional forces deter foreign threats. Yet this is not enough to provide complete security to a nation whose economy is in a perpetual state of crisis and where close to 45% of the population lives below the poverty line by some estimates. Perpetual is an adjective meaning never-ending or continuous. Below the poverty line is a phrase meaning earning under a threshold defined as minimal subsistence. This sentence argues that economic distress and mass poverty undermine national security. According to the latest UN report, Pakistan currently ranks 168th out of 193 countries on the Human Development Index, HDI. Human Development Index, HDI, is a composite index measuring health, education, and living standards. This sentence highlights Pakistan's low standing in global human development. The only other South Asian country even lower in the human development category is Afghanistan. This parenthetical note underscores the region's dire comparative performance. More than 23 million children are out of school. This alarming statistic illustrates the education crisis. It's a scary place for a country that has the highest population growth rate in the region. Scary place is an idiomatic expression meaning a situation fraught with peril. This sentence warns that rapid population increase exacerbates development challenges. Some 80 million people are added to the population each year, making it an explosive situation. Explosive situation is a metaphor meaning a dangerously unstable condition. This sentence emphasizes the compound risks of high birth rate and weak services. Growing inequalities between rich and poor and among regions have weakened the country, presenting the biggest challenge to national security more than any external threat. Inequalities is a noun meaning unfair disparities in wealth or opportunity. This sentence asserts that domestic socioeconomic divides now pose the gravest security risk. As said by economists Acemoglu and Robinson in their seminal book, Why Nations Fail, extractive institutions, intended to benefit a small elite, result in stagnation and perhaps even state failure. Seminal is an adjective meaning highly influential and original. Extractive institutions is a jargon phrase meaning systems that concentrate power and wealth in the hands of a few. This sentence invokes the theory that political economic exclusion undermines national development. They further argue that a nation's long-term success hinges on inclusive political and economic institutions, which encourage broader participation. Inclusive institutions is a noun phrase meaning systems that allow and empower widespread civic and economic engagement. This sentence presents the alternative model of open participatory governance as the path to prosperity. That concept should be seen in the context of Pakistan with its failing institutions and elite capture. Elite capture is a noun phrase meaning when powerful groups seize control of public resources and policy. This sentence applies the theory directly to Pakistan's governance failures. In order to prevent state failure, we need to change our perception of national security and go beyond our traditional approach to defense. We must look at a broader range of threats and vulnerabilities, including economic, social, and environmental factors. This call to action argues for a holistic security strategy that incorporates non-military dimensions. But the question is, are we willing to shift priorities? This rhetorical question challenges policymakers to adopt a wider security view. Kinetic operations being carried out for over 2 decades have failed to eradicate militancy. Kinetic operations is military jargon meaning use of physical force, especially combat missions. This sentence critiques the long-standing reliance on purely military solutions to insurgency. Pakistan is facing its most serious internal security challenges, with two strategically located provinces in the midst of an insurgency and the state losing its writ over a large part of these regions. Internal security challenges is a noun phrase meaning threats arising within a country. Strategically located provinces is a phrase meaning regions important for geographic or political reasons. Losing its writ is an idiom meaning losing effective authority or control. This sentence means Pakistan's government is struggling to maintain order in key insurgent-affected areas. Over the last 2 decades, Pakistani security forces have been fighting the insurgents with little success. Insurgents is a noun meaning armed non-state actors rebelling against the government. This sentence means kinetic campaigns have failed to defeat the rebels after 20 years. The state has been relying almost exclusively on kinetic operations without addressing the root cause of public discontent that is fueling the insurgency. Root cause is a noun phrase meaning the fundamental reason behind a problem. This sentence argues that focusing solely on combat ignores the economic and social grievances driving rebellion. Successive military and civilian leaders have failed to see the interconnection between insurgency and social and economic backwardness. Successive is an adjective, meaning following one after another. Backwardness is a noun meaning lack of development or advancement. This sentence means both generals and politicians have overlooked how poverty and exclusion feed unrest. Not only are the troubled regions deprived of health, education, and employment facilities, they don't even have political rights. Deprived of is a phrasal verb meaning denied access to. This sentence lists the essential services and rights that conflict-ridden areas are denied. The relentless use of kinetic force has further alienated the population. Relentless is an adjective meaning unceasing or harsh. Alienated is a verb meaning made to feel isolated or estranged. This sentence means continued military pressure has pushed locals away from the state. Analysts working on forthcoming research linked to the topic have pointed out that among the most vulnerable districts are 2 former FATA districts in Khoistan and KP, plus 17 districts in Balochistan, including the most vulnerable districts of Washuk, Khuzar, Kolu, and Job. Forthcoming is an adjective meaning upcoming or soon to be released. FATA is an acronym for Federally Administered Tribal Areas. KP is an abbreviation for Khyber Pakhtunkhwa Province. Vulnerable districts is a noun phrase meaning areas most at risk of instability. This sentence identifies specific regions where weak governance and security have made insurgency most entrenched. Not surprisingly, they are centers of the ongoing insurgencies. This sentence notes that the listed districts correspond exactly to active conflict zones. Regional inequalities appear starker when we learn that among the 20 least vulnerable districts, 13 are from Punjab, 4 from Sindh, 2 from KP, and not a single one from Balochistan. Starker is an adjective meaning more severe or pronounced. This sentence contrasts how wealthier, more secure districts cluster in Punjab and Sindh, while Balochistan remains entirely excluded. An overview of the facts sheds more light on the unequal distribution of resources. Punjab, the bastion of power, takes the lion's share. Balochistan and the newly merged districts in KP get just a trickle. Bastion of power is a metaphor meaning stronghold of influence. Takes the lion's share as an idiom meaning receives the largest portion. Trickle is a noun meaning a very small amount. This sentence describes how Punjab monopolizes national resources, while other regions receive minimal investment. The growing regional inequalities and vulnerabilities are reflected in the lack of communication and transportation facilities in Balochistan, the country's largest province in terms of area. This sentence links Balochistan's infrastructure deficits to its heightened security vulnerabilities. A number of contiguous district populations are deprived of easy access to roads, transport facilities, even telephones. Contiguous is an adjective meaning adjacent or sharing borders. Deprived of is a phrasal verb meaning denied access to. This sentence details which basic services are missing in clusters of districts, exacerbating isolation. It's a different case in Punjab, where there is much better access to these facilities. especially in the northern and central areas. This sentence contrasts Punjab's comparatively robust infrastructure and connectivity. Moreover, both KP and Balochistan have far lower accessibility to health facilities and community health services. Accessibility is a noun meaning the ease of reaching or using something. Community health services is a noun phrase meaning local public medical provision. And this sentence highlights severe healthcare disparities in these provinces. Then there is also greater internal disparity between the districts within the province. This sentence notes that even within provinces, some districts are far worse off than others. In the most vulnerable districts, the distance to the nearest health facility can be more than 30 kilometers. This sentence quantifies how remote some communities must travel for basic medical care. Such districts in KP and Balochistan have the highest unemployment rates and proportions of people working as unpaid family helpers. Unemployment rates is a noun phrase measuring the percentage of jobless within a population. Unpaid family helpers is a noun phrase describing individuals who work in family businesses without pay. And this sentence links high unemployment and informal labor patterns to economic fragility. This is another indicator of fragile livelihoods. This sentence interprets labor and employment statistics as evidence of economic vulnerability. The researchers estimate that more than 65 PC of the population in Balochistan's vulnerable districts inhabit temporary or makeshift homes. 50 PC do not even have toilet facilities, and 40 PC must do without proper water facilities. Makeshift homes is a noun phrase meaning improvised shelters that lack durability. This sentence offers stark statistics on housing and sanitation crises in Balochistan's worst-off areas. Against this backdrop, it is hardly surprising that the youth in large numbers are easy recruits for militant groups in the province. This sentence argues that dire living conditions and lack of opportunity push young people toward insurgent recruitment. What seems to have worsened the situation in the vulnerable districts is the complete denial of even basic democratic and human rights to the people, which explains why kinetic operations being carried out for more than 2 decades have failed to eradicate militancy. Denial of rights is a noun phrase meaning refusal to grant fundamental civil or political freedoms. This sentence connects systematic rights abuses to the failure of purely military counterinsurgency efforts. Surely this also provides a favorable environment for external forces to intrude, especially with an alienated population that has no stakes in the existing system. This sentence warns that domestic neglect and alienation invite foreign meddling in Pakistan's internal affairs. The entire state narrative is about the foreign hand. There is no mention of the plight of the people who cannot access even basic facilities. Foreign hand is a metaphor meaning external actors blamed for internal problems. This sentence criticizes the government's focus on external scapegoats rather than citizens' real suffering. Unfortunately, the state has never prioritized the development of human infrastructure in the country, as reflected in its abysmal HDI ranking. Human infrastructure is a metaphor meaning the systems of education, health, and social welfare. Abysmal is an adjective meaning extremely poor or bad. This sentence censures the government for neglecting investments in people's well-being. Spending in the education and health sectors is not even 1 PC of GDP below even that spent by regional countries, barring perhaps Afghanistan. GDP is an acronym for Gross Domestic Product, the total market value of goods and services produced. This sentence highlights Pakistan's extremely low social spending compared to its neighbors. With its numbers growing at 2.5 PC annually, the population is projected to reach 320 M by 2040. The sentence warns that rapid population growth will further strain already limited resources. It is a nightmarish scenario, with sluggish economic growth and little investment in health and education. Nightmarish scenario is a dramatic metaphor, meaning an extremely troubling outlook. This sentence paints a grim forecast for Pakistan's socioeconomic trajectory. We are sitting on a ticking time bomb. Ticking time bomb is an idiom meaning a dangerous situation that may explode if not addressed. This sentence underscores the urgency of comprehensive reform. Nothing could be more dangerous for national security. This sentence asserts that socioeconomic collapse poses the gravest threat to Pakistan's stability, particularly with increasing numbers of people falling below the poverty line. This sentence emphasizes that rising poverty intensifies the risk of unrest. But there seems to be no realization on the part of our rulers that the country badly needs to reset its priorities. This sentence laments leadership's failure to recognize and act upon these systemic dangers. We must rethink our national security paradigm before it is too late. Security paradigm is a noun phrase meaning the framework or model through which security is conceptualized and pursued. This concluding call to action insists on a fundamental shift in how Pakistan defines and defends its security. Being a nuclear power cannot save us from implosion. Implosion is a metaphor meaning catastrophic internal collapse. This final sentence warns that nuclear deterrence cannot prevent domestic breakdown caused by socioeconomic neglect. The writer is an author and journalist. Hussain100 at yahoo.com, X at Zahid Hussain, published in Dawn, August 6.